Hey guys, today I'm going to give you like 3 more examples of solving area equations. These ones are going to be a little tougher because they are going to be multi-step equations, but same kind of process. So, if you want to draw these figures, I would suggest it just because it gives you a better visual. So, Macy is flying a kite. So, if you use your formula sheet, I'll show you it in a second, but we're talking about a kite here. She's flying a kite this weekend that has an area of 144 square centimeters. So I'm going to write that down. If the kite's one diagonal is 12 centimeters long. So this is the kind of rhombus where they're talking about the diagonals. So we know one of them. So we'll just call this one diagonal 1 is 12 centimeters. So we'll also write that down over here. It wants to know how long is the other diagonal. So that would be the second diagonal, or D2. We don't know what that is, so we're going to leave it a question mark. So you may know the formula at this point, but I would always check the formula sheet just to be safe because you never know. You don't want to copy it down wrong. But we're talking about the kite with the diagonal, so you're going to use this formula right there. So area equals 1/2 times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So area equals 1/2 times diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So at this point, we're going to work left to right and plug in everything that we know to create our equation to solve. So we're going to start with A for area. Do we know the area? We do. It's 144 square centimeters. 1/2 is just a value, so we're going to bring it down. I'm going to write 0.5 just to make my life easier so I can plug it into the calculator. So then diagonal 1 is our next variable. We know the diagonal 1 is 12, so we're going to plug in 12 for that. And then diagonal 2, that's our unknown. So we're just going to leave it the variable, so D2. Okay, so at this point, you want to kind of simplify anything you can before you treat the equation like a scale. So I like to look at the two sides separately to see if I can simplify anything. So if I look at this side over here, it's just 144. I can't do anything on that side, so I'm just going to bring it down. And I'm going to look at the right side of the equation to see if I can do anything to make my life more simple. So I can multiply 0.5 times 12. I can do that, so I'm going to do it to make it more easy on myself. So 0.5 times 12, or half of 12, is 6. And then you're just multiplying that by the second diagonal. Okay, so we just simplified things a little bit. So now we have a one-step equation that we can solve. So at this point, I need to figure out how to get this diagonal 2 by itself, or isolate that diagonal 2. So what's going on with it? Being multiplied by 6. So I'm going to divide each side of the equation by 6. So those cancel out. I'm left with my second diagonal, which is what I'm looking for. So that's perfect. And I want to do 144 divided by 6 to get 24. So the second diagonal is 24 centimeters. Okay, pause the video, write that down. I know it's a lot. We have 2 more to do. So the Philadelphia Museum of Art's triangular pediment. So that's actually just talking about this in the picture, this triangle up here. It has an area of 420 square feet. So right there, we're talking about area, 420 square feet. The base of the triangular pediment is 70 feet. So base is 70 feet. And they want to know how tall it is. So when you're talking about how tall something is, another word for that is going to be height. So we want the height of the triangle. That's what we're missing. So formula sheet, we need the formula for area of a triangle. There it is. Area equals 1/2 times the base times the height. So write that down in our notes. And we are going to plug in everything we know to create the equation to solve. So starting with A, or area. We know that area is 420. The 1/2 just comes down. We'll write 0.5 to make our lives easier. Now the base. Can we substitute anything in for the B? We know the base is 70, so we're going to write 70 instead of B. And the height is what we're missing. So we're just going to leave it H since that is our unknown. So now we need to work on simplifying first. So if I look at the left side of my equation, it's just 420. There's nothing going on there, so I'm going to bring that down. The right side of the equation, I can simplify this by multiplying 0.5 times 70. So 0.5 times 70, or half of 70, is 35. And I still want to multiply that to H. So at this point, that's a one-step equation that you should know how to solve. So what's going on with my variable, or what's going on with my H? It's being multiplied by 35. So I'm going to divide each side by 35. They cancel out. You are left with H, or the height is what we're looking for. And you want to do 420 divided by 35. And you should get 12. So the height is 12, and we're talking about feet, 12 feet. Okay, pause it, write it down, and then we have one more to do. So last example for the day, it is the most complicated because it's that lovely, crazy long trapezoid formula. Same kind of process though. So Andrew needs to design a desk in the shape of a trapezoid, and it has an area of 9 square feet. So area is 9 square feet. The top base length is 2 feet. So if we're talking about, here's my trapezoid up here. If this is the top base being, actually I think this is probably the top base, 2 feet, we can just call that B1. Does not matter which one we label B1 or B2. So we'll say base 1 equals 2 feet. And the bottom base length is 4 feet. So this one is probably the 4 feet. And we'll call that B2. So we know base 2 is 4 feet. And we want to know what the height of this is. So we're looking for the height of the trapezoid, or kind of how wide it is. So height is our unknown. So we need to find our formula on our formula sheet. It's the longest one. There's trapezoids, and there she is. Area equals 1/2 times the height times the 2 bases added together. So let's write that down. Area equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Okay? Now we're going to work left to right and plug everything in that we know. So starting with area, we know that the area is 9. 1/2 comes down, we'll write 0.5. The height, we don't know that, so we're going to leave it H. So we just have to multiply H. Do we know base 1? We do, it's 2. Do we know the second base? We do, it's 4. And now we have plugged in everything that we know and we need to solve for the H. So simplify first. So the 9 on the left-hand side can't do anything with him. But on the right-hand side, there's actually a couple things we can do. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add what's in our parentheses, or add our bases together. So 0.5 times H comes down, and then we're going to actually multiply that by 2 plus 4 is 6. So on this right-hand side, I can still do something. I can multiply in any order and still get the same product. So I'm actually going to multiply 0.5 times 6. So half of 6 is 3. So 9 equals 3 times H. Okay, so I kind of just multiplied, and what I got for 0.5 times 6 is 3, and I still need to multiply by the H. So at this point, you have a one-step equation that you can solve. My variable h is being multiplied to 3, so I'm going to divide each side by 3. Those cancel out. I'm left with my height, which is perfect. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So the height is 3 feet. Okay. This trapezoid one is going to be the toughest one out of all of them. So if you have questions, please let me know. I am here to help. You have a Google Doc practice to do. Check your answers with the answer key to make sure you know what you're doing before you get to the formative. Okay? Watch this video again if you did not get it. If you want me to do another example with you, email me. I can do that. Other than that, I will talk to you tomorrow.